Madhya John Madden. It's Friday morning, the 14th of November, and I want to make a note about the power of love. I am at the shelter where I'm staying, surrounded by people who are paying a terrible price for their cigarette smoking. Terrible coughs, COPD. And I was out on the fire escape where we're allowed to smoke after 6 in the morning, having my morning cigarette, and wondering why it is that I no longer pay any price for smoking. When I lived in Nashville between 2004 and 2020, I struggled mightily against my cigarette addiction. And at one point, there was 3 of us, 2 other guys, would support each other to try to quit. And I never made it more than 7 weeks. But I also found that every time I smoked for 3 or 4 weeks, my asthma would start to act up. And no longer ever again. I'm not short of wind. I have pretty good wind. A little cough occasionally, but not much. So why? Why does it not bother me anymore? And it has to do with the power of love. I have, over the course of the last 6 years, become such a center of love for myself, for the world, for everybody I meet, for everything I see, and for my cigarettes. When I have a cigarette, I always love the cigarette and I'm grateful for it. I almost never smoke while I'm doing anything else. It's always a sacred moment of mindfulness for me. I essentially always say thank you, God, while I'm smoking or immediately after. So they don't bother me. Back here in the U.S., where I have more access to organic cigarettes, American Spirit again, I smoke them when I can, but the cigarette somebody gave me this morning was not. And I have a guy here, Paul, who's been really generous to me. He's very sweet to me. And he gives me cigarettes when I don't have them. And the last couple of days I've been saying to him, they're going to be gone in a couple of days, and the rest of the month I won't be able to afford to buy any. But I also have found from my times in hospitals and rehab centers that I can easily go 6, 10, 15 days without them. I miss them and grab them when I can. Find out those places where I can sneak one. But I don't need them. There's a great teaching story where somebody went to, what's the guy's name? The Russian mystic. I'll put a note to him, and said, I want to study with you. And the guy said to him, meetings with remarkable men. It's about, maybe he'll still come back to me. Not important. The guy said to him, well, I noticed this cigarette addiction you have. You have to beat that before you can study with me. So the guy went away, spent a year, came back and said, I haven't had a cigarette for a year. And the teacher said, pulled out a beautiful pearl inlaid box and offered him a cigarette. He said, what? You said I can't smoke. No, I didn't say that. I said, your addiction to cigarette smoking is a problem, and you have to beat that. But nothing wrong with smoking. It's the addiction. So I no longer call my cigarette habit an addiction, but a preference. I do better. They're grounding for me. They're yang, and I can get very yin, very spread out, too ungrounded, and they help me ground myself. And if I stay with that, I can stay in that state of silence and embodiment for a long time. And I almost never smoke a whole cigarette. Usually 3 or 4 drags is all I need. So, yeah, like that. They're playing Christmas carols already on the local radio, and lots of us here have signed up to be bell ringers for the Salvation Army. out in front of Ingles stores and places like that. And the guy who came to us and gave us a talk, the captain of the local Salvation Army chapter, gave a beautiful talk about the history of the Salvation Army and the history of bell ringing. Gorgeous talk. I wish I had asked him for permission to film it. He probably would have said no. He's kind of a humble guy. But at the same time that I'm not looking forward to my first cold winter in several, what I'm finding is that there are always places I can find to be in the sun and out of the wind. I know that in Nashville it always warms up after it's been cold, or usually. I remember a couple of tough winters. I'm not threatened by it. This is so hackneyed. I have my love to keep me warm. That's true. Warm thoughts inoculate me from the cold.